Hi, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Ali Corman-Kintreve here to break down the action in today's session, where we saw heavy losses across the board with the Fed minutes really spooking the markets today, Ken. Can you hear me? Oh, you are on mute.
Okay, I am off mute. Yeah, I mean, the Nasdaq was lagging for the entire session, but the Fed minutes came out, and listen, we know the Fed is going to raise interest rates this year, most likely 3 times. We know that the tapering of monthly bond purchases is happening, but what's kind of new in the minutes is that now they're talking more about this $8 trillion in bonds that they own and the process of lessening that balance sheet. So that market interpreted that to be a little more hawkish than what we heard from the policy statement in mid-December. So that fueled a lot of selling.
That it did. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq, which finished the day down 3.3%. This is a little delayed. This only shows a decline of about 3%. So the Nasdaq coming down to the 15,100 level today. So a huge decline on the chart, but it wasn't alone. We also had the Russell 2000 down over 3%, the S&P 500 down almost 2%, and the Dow, which we had said was really standing out in this bifurcated market this week, also got hit today, down about 1.1%, but a pretty brutal beating, no way around it.
Yeah, I mean, the Nasdaq, like I said, the Nasdaq was weak before the Fed minutes came out, and then it got, it weakened considerably. But it was another nasty sell-off for software stocks. We had key downgrades for both Salesforce.com and also Adobe. Those were, big percentage decliners today. And at one point the S&P was holding up pretty well. It was a lot of beaten down names with single-digit PE ratios, names like AT&T. Outperforming the S&P 500, but money is kind of leaving these high multiple growth stocks and going into the real beaten down value names. But I don't think a lot of names weren't spared today after that selling after 11 a.m. Pacific time.
That's right. And so the S&P 500 now below its 21-day line, still above the 50-day. So I guess that's the next level to watch for the S&P. And then going back to the Nasdaq, we were talking about how the support at the 50-day line, of course, is what we want to see. All those moving averages converging, the 50-day, the 21-day. But even Tuesday's action was disappointing after the promising move that we saw to kick off the week, but now we're just looking at a very different picture here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Nasdaq was certainly looking a little vulnerable headed into today. We mentioned this really sharp selling in software stocks, but yeah, this is a decisive break of the 50-day moving average. It looks like volume on the Nasdaq is going to come in higher than Tuesday. This is according to preliminary data, so it could be a distribution day. But volume was tracking lighter for most of the session, and not surprisingly picked up the pace as the selling picked up the pace late.
Okay, and since we did get the Fed minutes, let's take a look at 0TNX, which is a visual representation of the 10-year Treasury yield. So really spiking this week, and we'd seen kind of a ceiling just under that 1.7 level, but breaking above that today.
Yeah, I mean, you had a breakout in that yield a couple days ago. It extended gains yesterday. It was lower for a little while today, but then really the yields started to strengthen again as those Fed minutes probably were a little more hawkish than what people were anticipating. So again, just to reiterate, the Fed has some $8 trillion worth of bonds that it has bought in recent months, and now it's talking about ways that they're going to, sell those bonds, which could cause even more upward pressure on rates. And sometimes that's not a good recipe for the stock market. And we saw that certainly in the selling today.
Yeah, and growth names especially getting hit hard. But with this in play, it seems like financials is definitely an area where we are keeping very close tabs on, including Signature Bank. So bucking the weakness today, along with the increase in the 10-year yield. So SBNY gaining about 1.8% today and clearing a 342 area intraday. Looks like maybe it backed off a little bit, but potentially that round number at 350 magnet for the stock.
Yeah, I mean, it was the stock did break out today. You see volume picked up the pace from recent sessions. This is a New York-based bank with pretty good fundamentals. You see good earnings and sales growth in recent quarters. So this is a high-quality name in the financial space, and it's kind of a breakout from a cup base here. It's got a relative strength line that's pointing into new high ground. So this is a strong stock. It got dragged down late by the broad market weakness, but held together pretty good. I think it might have closed just below a 342.13 buy point, but still looks pretty good.
Yeah, and an early entry here, a little tricky, but it did clear a trend line, getting back above its 50-day, but with the holiday trade, didn't really have volume behind it, so I think that would have been tricky, but the weekly chart looking pretty interesting here as we are midway through the week now. And also steel, another area of interest right now. So here's a look at Nucor. It's up about 7.5% so far for the week. Backed off a little bit, but notched a gain of about 4.8% for the day. It started tightening up in recent weeks and offered investors a new opportunity to get into a group that we're starting to see re-strengthen.
Yeah, I mean, at one point today, the steel producer group in our database was up more than 6%. I didn't get a final close on it, but it probably faded again with the market. But for the fact that Nucor was able to hold above this buy point here of 122.16 is pretty impressive. When we saw a lot of stocks breaking out and closing below buy point, so Nucor did manage to close above the latest entry. Really good volume in the stock today. You can see at the bottom of the chart there, well above average, and still think the steel stocks have a good chance of outperforming in 2022 in this high inflation environment, and an economic recovery that's expected to continue in 2022. So would expect to see steel stocks continue to perform well.
Right. And another stock that cleared a buy point today is Reliance Steel and Aluminum, ticker RS. So up 2% today. This stock has taken quite a bit of time off, Ken, to work on a base, but it seems like it's in the right group.
It's in the right group. It's in the right sector. Kind of not a steel producer per se like Nucor, but a related name in this industry group. The metal processing and fabrication group was also one of the day's top performers today. So like the setup here, its relative strength line is starting to poke into new high ground, and this one broke out over a 167.93 buy point, closed just below it. It's thinly traded, about 300,000 shares a day, but it's $166 stock, so that gives it a average daily dollar volume north of 50 million. So that makes it pretty liquid despite that light average daily volume. So this is another stock that has a chance of outperforming this year, and we'll see. We'll keep this one on our watch list and see how it looks.
All right. Yeah. Financials, metals, and energy, some of the areas that we've really seen come into focus in the first trading week of the year. But we still have 2 sessions to go, and tomorrow is a new day. So we'll have to see what tomorrow's trading session will bring. The team will be sure to break everything down for you tomorrow morning on IBD Live in real time for the first 90 minutes of trade. So we hope you join us. You could be a fly on the wall in our team discussions. It's always a good time. Investors.com/IBD Live. We have a lot going on this week. We had leaderboard scorecard yesterday. We have swing trader scorecard coming up tomorrow. And on Friday, Chris and I will be on Barron's Live talking about something very fitting That is trading strategies for volatile markets, and seems pretty appropriate for the time being, Ken.
Yeah, I think you guys will have plenty to talk about on Barron's Live, and we'll certainly have plenty to talk about putting today's bearish action into perspective on IBD Live tomorrow morning.
No doubt. So we'll see everyone there. And Barron's Live, you can check that out at barrons.com/live. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.